Hey guys, it's cold outside, and let me tell you something. When it's this time of year, cold, wet, rainy outside, one of the only things I'm worried about when I wake up in the morning is how dry the clothes are that I'm putting on for that day. I'm not really worried about a whole lot of other stuff. One thing that we do, those of us that conceal carry, is you go through the motions. You throw your clothes on, you put your holster on the way out the door, you grab your 1911, your Glock, whatever you're carrying, you slap it on, you're out the door. In fact, whenever it's a little bit colder like it is right now, it's that much easier to conceal your weapon because there's no threat of printing or anything like that. And you actually have more options because you can wear an outside waistband holster with no problem because you can conceal that weapon under your jacket or a sweater like I'm doing. Well, the biggest thing that many people overlook in the wintertime with their concealed carry weapons is maintenance of them. Sometimes the type of holster that we're wearing, along with the real heavy fabric, cottons and wools and things like that, tend to have a little bit more of that lint and that little bit of that fuzz inside your clothes than they would probably have in the summertime. We're going to take a little bit closer look at how you can maintain your gun and things to remember to do as far as maintaining that concealed carry weapon through those winter months, and some of the ins and outs and I guess pros and cons of particular holsters and how they wear on your body during the winter months. One very common concealed carry holster is the outside waistband holster. The benefit of this holster is it's exactly what it says. It rides on the outside of your waistband. It's much more comfortable than an inside waistband holster because you're not trying to fit it within your clothing, it goes on the outside. While this holster, of course, is very comfortable, the one thing you have to remember is you have to wear exterior clothing that will completely cover up the holster and the firearm. As you can see, the barrel itself is not tucked into your clothes, so this particular gun is less likely to get the lint and dust that an inside waistband holster will from being inside your clothes. This is an inside waistband holster. The benefit of this holster is, of course, concealability. It fits inside your waistband, making it a little bit less comfortable, but at the same time, totally concealable. Whether or not you're having some long exterior clothing to cover it or not, it's somewhat easy to cover with your normal shirt, clothes, or anything like that. The downside to this one is, of course, the obvious nature that it's tucked inside the waistband. Not only is it less comfortable, but it's more likely to pick up dust and lint from your interior clothes being tucked inside the pants. My personal choice is, of course, the inside waistband. By wearing this particular holster, I can wear pretty much anything I want to in the winter months and still be able to conceal my firearm with ease. It doesn't matter if I wear a shirt that's tucked in, a jacket, or anything like that, I am concealing my weapon. Now, why are we making such a big deal out of lint and dust? Check this particular gun out. We tried a little experiment. I wore this weapon for one whole month without cleaning it at all. It was tucked inside my waistband with normal winter clothes, high cotton content. Looks pretty good in the right light, doesn't it? Check this out. No, that's not cool. That's not what you want to see in the barrel of your concealed carry firearm. That fur inside that barrel may look like it'll keep you warm, but if it makes that firearm malfunction whenever you really need it, you're going to get cold really fast. Remember folks, this is only 4 weeks of lint and dust, basically from cotton underwear, t-shirts, blue jeans, khaki pants. That's where 100% of what you see inside this barrel came from. And it's not just the barrel. Look around the trigger mechanism and other places of this gun, small cracks, crevices, where dust and lint can settle. That's not good. These are all places and ways that that firearm can malfunction whenever you really need it to function properly. But will this thing still fire with all of this lint and dust settled into the barrel and cracks and crevices of the firearm? We thought the same thing. So we took it out to the range and we used one of our high-speed cameras to try to catch the gun firing and seeing what happens once it's fired as far as that dust and lint goes. As you can see, little particles of dust and lint continue to fly well after the gun is fired. Look at the small pieces settling to the ground. This is dust and lint that was blown out into the air from inside the firearm that's slowly settling. Here's a few more shots of the same where you can see the lint and the dust settling to the ground after each shot was fired. Yes, the gun did function properly on every single round that we fired, including the very first one. However, Do you want to really take that chance with your personal protection firearm that you're carrying on yourself when you need it in a pinch? That's not a chance I'm willing to take, even though I did for this exercise, which was probably kind of stupid. There are, of course, a number of ways to take care of your concealed carry gun. Some are a little bit more effective than others. My preferred method is an old tried and true method. I take the slide stop out, and if you don't want to take the gun all the way down, because remember, this is not after being shot. This is simply routine maintenance of a firearm that has not been fired in between cleanings. So it's not necessary to get in there and get carbon fouling and things like that out of there. We're simply trying to get dust and lint out of this gun. One of the things that I will do is, of course, I'll break it down a little bit more than this, but at least this is better than the option 2 over here. I will take this gun, I will get some air. Again, we're talking about lint and dust. Sometimes the places you're trying to reach are not reachable as far as behind the trigger bow here. You can get down inside this where the mag well is and get down, and it's kind of, I don't think you're going to be able to see it on camera, but you can get down in here behind the trigger bow where it engages the grip safety and all the other small parts inside the grip. And you can spray this air in there. What that's going to do is that's going to dislodge any dust, any lint, anything like that that you're not going to get to if you're not willing to take the entire gun apart, which I don't really recommend because it's not necessarily the thing that you need to do. I'd also get behind the hammer because, again, you've got your sear engaging the hammer back here also. Pretty important part as far as making the gun go bang. I like to spray that out, and again, spray out all parts that have any potential moving parts in it, even if it's right in this area. Now this recoil spring comes out pretty easy, but if yours doesn't, you don't have to take it out. You can get in there and you can spray this thing out all the way around it where moving parts are. Again, all we're trying to do with that is simply getting the dust out of it. Rim oil, tried and true rim oil made by Remington. The best thing I like to do is take this gun and spray it in some of those areas that I sprayed before inside. You don't want to spray too much of it because remember, oil is going to attract dust and lint. So spray it on your moving parts, spray it. I like to spray my barrel. In this case, I like to take my barrel out. If I'm going to spray this inside there, I would pull my barrel out, wipe that excess off of it, because that will attract dust and lint on the outside of the firearm. That's the old tried and true method. You always want to wipe away any excess rim oil because this stuff, again, will attract lint and dust. Now, if you're not going to take it apart like that, like I do, you at least can manage this thing a little bit by using the same method. Now, that's where the air is a little bit more important. You want to get in there with the air, real close quarters. Try to spray the air all up inside there where there's going to be moving parts. Since you haven't taken the slide off, you can still get to the back of the trigger bow where the sear and everything else inside are by getting inside the mag well and spraying your air inside there. It's better than nothing. You're able to access it. You can also access it from the top, back of the trigger bow right here, and spray it right inside there. You want to spray it all down inside your slide where it touches and comes into contact with the barrel. I like to spray it all along the slide as well, even in the back of the slide right there, because that's going to run that air down that slide and that rail. After you do that, again, if you don't want to use the gun scrubber, you don't have to. This is mostly for carbon fouling. You can go straight to step 3 and spray this in there. Spray it in the slide area. There's a little bit of friction on top. You want to spray that and wipe it off. What we're trying to do is not lubricate this thing to where it's sopping wet. We're simply trying to get a film, a covering over this thing to where it's lubricated, but not to the touch where it's going to grab the lint and the dust from our clothes. Now, one thing you can use on both of these methods is you can use your bore snake that has the little scrubbers right here as you pull it through, or of course you can use your standard rod with your cleaning brush on the end of it. Either way is effective. Sometimes the brush is a little bit quicker. There are, of course, some old school guys out there who still believe in WD-40 by putting the WD-40 on here to clean the gun and then wiping all that off and putting the rim oil on. I am not a believer in the WD-40. I'm not dogging anybody that is a believer, but there's some documented reasons why WD-40 is not the way to go. If you don't get all the WD-40 out, it is not a good thing to have inside your weapon. So I prefer not to use it. Again, there are people who have used it with ultimate success over the years, going back all the way to Vietnam, coming forward. So I'm not saying don't use it if that's your thing, but if you're going to use it, do not use it as your only lubricant. This is not a lubricant. This is a water displacement system. You want to, after you use your WD-40, you still need to apply your rim oil to it to give it the lubrication that this weapon is going to need. And again, I can't stress enough, wipe off any excess. You're only looking to form a film, a coating on those parts. You're not trying to saturate them. You're simply wanting to prevent rust or anything like that. Do not leave enough on there where it's wet to the touch, because it will attract lint and any kind of dust. There are some other products on the market too. This Corrosion Ex, this is some good stuff. Let me tell you what, if you want to use Corrosion Ex, that is a one-stop shop as far as I'm concerned. It is a good cleaner, but it's also an excellent, excellent, excellent lubricant. It will coat your parts, all your small parts, your slide. You can spray the entire gun with it, and it's going to fight any kind of rust or anything like that. It's also not wet to the touch once you spray it on. You can wipe off any excess, and you're still leaving behind a nice film of lubricant on the entire weapon. This arch oil, this is some pretty neat stuff too. That's something that if you're wanting to just wham bam hit it, you can spray, put that like drops of it in the slide, and then again wipe off any excess. The key here is whatever you use for your lubricant on your weapon, your concealed carry weapon, you want to wipe off any excess. Wipe off excess, because it's going to attract dust and lint if you do not do that. So clean your gun on a regular basis, wipe off the excess, and you're good to go. But you want to probably do this on a weekly basis, or inspect the thing on a regular basis. If you see hair growing inside the barrel, you know it's time to clean this, whether or not you've reached your 7-day mark. Folks, I hope that helped. One of the biggest things we need to remember is that the whole purpose of carrying a concealed weapon is not to look cool. It's to have that weapon ready if you ever need it. And the last thing you want to do is reach for that firearm and it's not ready. So let's maintain our weapons spring, summer, winter, fall. Make sure they're always operational and they're lubricated, cleaned, and don't grow any fur inside your barrel like I did.